The 100 Black Men of Greater Washington, D.C. starting a STEM initiative called the STEM the 100 Way and seeking an endowment to ensure that STEM programs such as the GEMS and SQL and AEOP programs, those types of STEM programs and outreach are made available to students in all communities within the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area.
This program will most definitely help me in school. Having the capacity to do things on my own and do things to better myself. I've had to do a lot of those things in this program, and it's really been a teaching lesson the entire program, and it's really going to benefit me through my entire college career.
The GEMS program is very different from a normal science class because we do a lot more projects in GEMS. In GEMS, after we learn everything, we do a project to reinforce that knowledge, whereas at school we do labs or projects about once a week in our science classes. So even though we're learning topics more often, we're not doing as many projects.
Well, with the GEMS program, I am a near-peer mentor. I instruct the students, I help the students, I talk to them about science, math, and engineering. This year we are talking about engineering concepts. So we teach them about gears, levers, pulleys. We also talk to them about budget. So we're here as a guide, but we're also here as their peers to talk to them about college and moving into the STEM field.
The takeaway for GEMS is that science in a normal teaching environment is not optimal for students to love and want to do science. And so GEMS offers them a way to actually do the hands-on experiment themselves with increasing sophistication, with support from a college student, their near-peer mentor, a concept we named years ago. And those near-peer mentors bring those students forward, make science fun, make it exciting, make it natural to them, make it something that they can learn now and learn forever.
You learn when you can. You learn as much as you can. You learn in the summer and the winter. I did this program because I love science, I love engineering, and I love math.
We live in such a great area here in this Metroplex with all the biotech companies. We have all the National Institutes of Health and Research, the Naval Research Laboratories, all the Army and DoD laboratories, all across the state and in Virginia, that there's such a wealth of knowledge and opportunity here that it's our duty to ensure that all students in all the schools in these areas have an opportunity in STEM education.
If you think about the world by jumping to conclusions, you're going to be left behind. But if you think about the world by making observations and then trying to figure out what that means, then you're going to be ahead of the game. You're going to be successful because you're always going to be thinking about what something means and not listening to what other people tell you it means. That's what science is about. That's where discoveries come from.
I see a lot of kids who are very bright, but because nobody expects them to advance, they kind of sit in the remedial classes when they should be in the advanced classes. Even when it seems like they shouldn't be in there, the exposure to that makes a big difference.
I feel like if there was more funding for the program, it would be a lot more extensive. We'd be able to get into a lot more subject areas. And even as is, it was really, really well-rounded.
There are a lot of distractions. And there are a lot of things that interest people, particularly when you talk about tangibles, boats, cars, houses, all that sort of thing. Lots of tangibles. Those can be taken from you, or those can burn down or go away. But there is something that is permanent that you can get, but you have to earn it, and it's a degree. Once you take that tassel from the side of your cap at graduation to the side that says, I have completed this, I have graduated, it is yours, and no one can take that from you. And the worth of that probably cannot be quantified, because you don't know how far your horizons are going to take you.
When you do get that degree, when you do learn those things that really science is a backdrop for, that also affects leadership. And when you can be a leader in an organization, then you can also impact others in addition to just the education piece.
That's right.
And I think doctors, lawyers, other D degrees, by their expertise, by their intellect, they often become natural leaders.
Not yours. That's his. I need his. That's okay, Kevin, right? No? Can you move a little closer? Wow, welcome to On the Scene with Patricia McDougall, celebrity photographer, and my special guest, of course, and my two co-hosts, which is Rue and also Chintana. And to my right, I have Mr. Ivory, right, Johnson?
Indeed.
Absolutely. And to my left, I take it, is Mr. Kevin Smith.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that
All
right?
right, on the scene.
Welcome,
Welcome, gentlemen.
welcome
Welcome.
to On the Scene. And we appreciate you coming out. And tell us, we showed a little video just a few minutes ago. Can you elaborate a little bit on that and tell us about what you do?
So the video that was just playing was STEM the 100 Way. It is the 100 Black Men of Greater Washington, D.C.'s STEM education initiative. And the initiative has been designed to bring hands-on STEM education, STEM and STEAM education and enrichment opportunities to students in the underserved areas, basically to increase the participation and inclusion of young men and women that are black and brown into the STEM community. So we've partnered with the Department of Defense and the Army Educational Outreach Program, which has had a myriad of programs that have been available for students grades 5 through 12 for the last 20 years. However, the numbers of participation from young men and women that are minorities has been less than 2%.
Wow.
So over the past 3 years of our participation, we've made it where there's over 1,500 young men and women of color in the greater Washington, D.C. area have been able to participate in that program, where they're getting taught by some of the world's best scientists and educators in STEM and STEAM over at the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. So, but at that's not just enough for us to say, hey, we made that partnership. The 100, with its own members, we have drafted our own curriculums and initiated our own programs to actually take that type of education into the schools of specifically Ward 7 and Ward 8.
Good.
Wow.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
What are you and the organization trying to accomplish through your endeavors?
The end game is to have an endowment where we are set up to have sustainable infrastructure where we can repeat and implement STEM programs throughout the greater Washington, D.C. area. It shouldn't matter what side of the Anacostia you live on in order to be competitive and have a chance to go to college.
That's correct.
Because, for me personally, STEM education was my way up and my way out.
Wow.
So we want to give the other kids that opportunity. So one thing we have accomplished this year, we also have the STEM Achievement Academy program, which we did at National Collegiate Prep.
That's hot.
Yeah. So
now, how long have you been involved with the association?
I've been a member of the 100 Black Men 3 years yesterday.
Well, congratulations, your anniversary today then.
And that's my number 2, 3.
Yeah.
I like that.
My goodness.
Yes, indeed.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so tell me.
So,
I
Avery,
guess-
how did you find this
Yes.
organization, man? How did you start?
Well,
and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I have a financial planning firm in Washington, D.C. I'm originally from New York City, the Lower East Side.
New York. I just opened all New York.
And if you're familiar with Lower East Side pre-gentrification, it looks a lot like the underserved areas that we're going to now. So, I've always believed that we can't expect other people to appreciate our property if we're not willing to clean
We
up our own
appreciate it
house, right?
ourselves, absolutely.
And so
That's
I was
correct.
already heavily involved mentoring with my fraternity. I saw the 100 Black Men as a way to expand that.
Good for you.
And so far, it's fulfilled all the billings. As Kevin mentioned, we're going to some of the underserved areas. We like to refer to them as the no cuffling zones.
Right.
The areas where 99% of the kids are
I like
getting
that
free
term.
lunch, where
No
you have
cufflinks.
1% of the children who are proficient in English and math. Because if we really get down to it, if we think about it, we have a prison industry that generates $80 billion every year. Now that's about 7 or 8 times as much money as the NFL makes from TV revenue every single year. Right?
That's correct.
They build the prisons based on 3rd grade reading levels.
They absolutely did.
So
Absolutely.
They have our children dangling somewhere around somebody's bottom line by way of special education. And what a lot of people don't realize is the states have taken lump sum payment in exchange for a contractual obligation to keep the prison beds 80% full And we know it's contractual because several states are now being sued for not manufacturing enough prisoners. And so what I've just described is tantamount to a modern-day slave trade. And while we're pleased to know that Harriet Tubman will be on the $20 bill at some point, she's not walking through that door and solving that problem. And so it's incumbent upon us to employ the resources at our disposal to clean up this mess that has manifested itself over the last quarter century.
And Avery, if you let me add, so they get a clear understanding, you're looking at each inmate, they get $250,000. I mean, can you imagine per inmate? And then for education, I'm in the area of Prince George's County.
Correct.
You're talking about $250,000 per inmate, $15,000 per student. So, I mean, it's so simple to see that we're not thinking of education more than we're thinking of getting our kids in jail.
Well, you're talking about the $10 a day ankle bracelet charges.
Ooh.
You're talking about you're talking about the
good analogy.
The food service contracts. You're talking about the prison guard jobs in areas of the country where there's no other industry. So again, if you think that poverty, the bedrock of poverty is lack of job opportunities, right?
That's correct.
Lack of economic growth.
That's correct.
STEM is just the means by which they can overcome some of those obstacles.
And it's an excellent thing. Oh, man. Excellent. I mean, excellent.
Wow. Well, you know, I just came back this week from Edie Frazier. She held a STEM conference, and that was awesome. I don't know, you're familiar with that one, right?
Very familiar.
Yes, and I know you had one of your, I guess he work with you? His name is Brian,
Dr. Brian
right?
Johnson. Yes,
Brian
he's in higher
Johnson. He
education.
is so awesome.
Yeah,
oh my goodness!
he is.
I got the chance to talk with him the other day, and he was so interesting. And so I'm sorry that he couldn't join us on the show today. But can you tell us a little bit about what he does?
Well, Dr. Brian Johnson has worked in higher education for well over 25 years. He sits on several White House as well as national educational boards, specifically dealing with the underrepresented and rural communities. And he now works for a company by the name of Base 11. And Base 11 is an entrepreneurial STEM organization where in 24 months they have a program called the Victory Circle, where in 24 months they try to take high-performing students from low-income, low-resourced areas and get them either conditioned to go into a four-year college institution or to even start their own STEM practice or business. So he's attacking the problem from two ends. It's not just about the education. The education gives you the opportunity for economic insertion.
That's correct.
So
That's correct.
And, when I say institutes of higher learning, I'm talking the MITs, the Caltechs, of the world. So imagine black and brown young men and women being able to go from poverty to sitting in the room with some of the foremost minds in technology and engineering and having an opportunity to have a lasting career.
Which is like our modern day trade school. I mean, back then
It
was
is
trade.
I mean,
Got to do trade. Everybody's not college bound, but
being from
give them
South
a couple
Dallas, I can
computer
tell
classes,
you that
man.
growing where I'm from, STEM was, I said, truly a way out. Education is
It
the
really
one
was.
barrier that it levels all playing field.
All part.
But it doesn't really level a playing field. You can change your field by having an education.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
That's correct.
It is an instrument, I have to share with what you said earlier is that I just came back from St. Martin, right? And that's something I learned is that everybody want and looking for opportunity. Open the door and let them work toward the capability they have. Everybody have equal opportunity.
Exactly.
Then that's how we can move toward productivity.
Exactly.
And this was the conference that.
Right.
So how are you?
Global
I
STEM
know
Talent
this was
Summit.
Awesome, right?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if you got to see it, right? But tell us, how did he? What was his? I didn't get to see him. I know he was on.
So he was one of the he was one of the speakers of the Global STEM Talent Summit.
Yes,
so as you know, Washington D.C. is pretty much the nexus of everything in terms of policy, education,
worldwide.
Commerce. It all is here in its epicenter. So the last 4 weeks, there have been everything from the Global STEM Talent Summit, which was hosted this past week, where you had some of the foremost educators as well as innovators meeting to talk about how do they identify STEM talent, and
it
being
was
able to make a pipeline.
amazing. Wow.
And then 2 weeks before, there was a USA Science and Engineering Festival where everyone from the major government sectors, as far as science and technology, engineering, and from across the globe, were actually here. Over 350,000 people were congregating at the Washington Convention Center. Where Brian and myself and Ivory and the 100 Black Men of Greater Washington, D.C. actually had a booth display with our students where people can interact with us.
That's
We
good.
were recruiting.
That's
We were
fabulous.
actually recruiting
That's really
our
good.
folks, to get into our programs. Being that I am a STEM professional, I can tell you right now that STEM diversity is not the problem. Diversity is not a problem in America. America's challenge is opportunity.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
You know, America's the greatest country in the world where there's opportunities that are boundless, but those of us that are from here understand there are gates that you have to go through to access the opportunity.
Right.
Okay.
And education is that number one gate.
Absolutely.
If I can enlighten you, I mean, you don't have to
Please,
have 7
yeah.
different degrees and different fields of science like myself to have a STEM career.
That's correct.
Anyone that knows how to use a computer, children know how to use a laptop,
Right.
a cell phone, can play
Right.
a video game.
That's
I
right.
can recondition you to code for that game.
That's
Absolutely.
And that's a $100,000 career.
But,
You know,
but I have a I have a financial planning firm. Right? I've done stuff with the media, and I've done well by it. But my godmother gave me a book about stocks and bonds when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And so we have a saying at the 100 Black Men that they'll be what they see.
That's it.
And so the demographics that we're dealing with are kids who, without being exposed to it, wouldn't know that that's even
They wouldn't know it.
a possibility. So STEM, from our standpoint, serves a number of functions, because let's not kid ourselves. I mean, 50% of the kids in this country are not born into poverty because everybody cares.
Right.
So we can tout the horn of altruism and how we want to make things better. The fact is, most people, even people
That's
who
the key
look
way
like
of making it
ourselves,
better.
you can make the case that the black middle class can be sued for malfeasance for allowing this structure, this institutional barriers to manifest themselves. But we do know that 57% of the engineers in this country are going to retire within 10 years.
That's
The
correct.
country needs engineers.
That's right.
Absolutely.
They
So
sure do.
we're going places where other people are not going. You know,
Right.
places where maybe you need to have screws with an Allen wrench to put your license plates on, so they're there when you get back. So everyone's not willing to go there. We are, and so then we maybe can find the Bill Gates who lives in Barry Farms.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So we're providing an economic advantage to our programs, and so that lends itself to more support in terms of resources as well as manpower.
And they can learn. My 11-year-old daughter and her class, they're trading on school. Everything they need for their school, they're trading stocks online. My 11-year-old daughter knows
Correct.
how to trade
Correct.
stock.
Right.
Her class make money from trading on stock. 5th grade class.
But
Do you
they're
really-
but they're exposed to that.
They're exposed to
Right.
that. You know?
Having not been exposed to that,
Exactly.
will prevent you from maximizing your potential.
Wow.
Yes.
Correct.
I
Thank
think
you
it's a
so
great thing you
much.
guys are doing.
Yeah.
Right.
So tell us. So if we can we just show some pictures from the Global STEM Talent Summit that that I was at, and I know that Brian
Sure.
Johnson was there as well. If we can show those pictures as well, and if you could let them know, the audience, where can they find you and how can they become? I know you got 100 black men, right? I mean, you add 101, 102. How, if somebody wanted to join, if somebody wanted to sponsor, somebody wanted to, to donate their time, tell us, how can they find you?
And also, what can we do on the scene to
Yeah.
help push your endeavors as well?
Yeah.
Well, we need two things, obviously,
Sure.
right?
Okay.
We need financial resources,
Okay.
and we need manpower. So they can find us. They can Google 100 Black Men of DC.
Okay.
100blackmendc.org, and they can
Okay.
find out everything about our organization. They can see the programs. They can find contact. They can also donate. Here's what would be really
so where
important.
can they find it? Yes, of course.
Here's what would be really, really critical, right? So we rely on the resources many times of corporations. And if you dig through some of these corporations, you may think that, it'd be nice if our own community supported us.
Right.
It wouldn't take much.
No, not at all.
Right, that's right.
$10 or
that's right.
$20 a month. I'm guessing everybody's cell phone is more than that, right?
Correct.
Oh yeah, by
so,
far.
So $10 or $20 every month, reoccurring revenue from 1,000 people in the community who, if we're being honest, will show up for a protest when the police shoot unarmed black men.
Right.
But that next Saturday, they're not there to support our events, right? They're not there to mentor children. If $10 a month, they supported us on a regular reoccurring basis, all of a sudden now we have more STEM programs.
That's correct.
All of a sudden now a child that's headed toward the abyss, we don't need to turn them 360 degrees to save them.
That's right.
Maybe just a little bit this way. And now they're going a completely different direction. But we can't continue to say things need to change.
Right.
We can't continue to be cyber revolutionaries posting old solutions on Facebook.
Correct.
And then not actually doing something about it. So they can find us, or we have our website, and you can donate there. You can join. We have, every year we have a new group of men.
Okay.
I know that the 100 Black Men traditionally has been an elite organization.
Right, it has been.
That lends itself to attracting people who want status.
Correct.
The people who like status don't always want to show up at 5:30 on a Wednesday afternoon and talk to kids who are 1% of whom are proficient in English and math.
Or
Those
7:30 on
mentors
a
are needed.
Saturday
Those
morning.
mentors are very much needed.
But that's what we need now.
Those
And, and we all have degrees. I've been on CNBC. We've all done great things. I'm proud of it. He has 7 degrees. I can't pronounce.
7 degrees.
I can't pronounce what he does. Right. So we're very proud of the things.
I
that
got
Kevin's
one, but
done.
don't mean nothing if you ain't doing nothing with it.
That's exactly right.
They don't keep me warm at night.
Notwithstanding,
Okay,
but we still need
wonderful.
men willing to come in, not only serve as role models, but we need them to go to work.
So,
Oh, I'm saying if they're looking to get to me directly, they can email me at education@100blackmendc.org, and I'll give you all the information you need.
we got a Facebook page, right?
We have a Facebook page. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram.
Oh my, find them.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
must. You
we're
have to,
everywhere.
you know, hey,
we are
reach out.
definitely everywhere.
That's awesome.
I think the only thing we're not on is LinkedIn, but he uses that. But
Well, you'd be surprised. I thought they didn't use it either, but they're
Yeah.
on this.
Powerful
I keep a link. I keep a link in.
right,
I keep a link in.
well, Ivory has a LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn.
I keep a link
Kevin
in.
Walter Smith.
Yes, I'm not
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
I
a STEM
mean,
professional, so I
Hey,
still
it's
use
so
it.
good.
yeah, I'm very effective.
You're global people on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I got about 500 connections, so yeah,
Yeah.
I can always take 5,000 more if they're willing to
Absolutely.
do the
So
work.
can I.
So thank you so much. So we're gonna because we up
Glad
against
to have you here,
time,
man.
and we have so many things I want to share. I've been to so many places. That's another reason why I'm just getting here, right?
On the scene, Patricia
I was on the
McDougall.
scene.
You're
It's so
working.
many, I
On
don't
the
want to
scene.
miss out for nothing, right? So first, I want to show the pictures from the White House, and the reason being is because. First, I want to say, Obama was in the house and he was representing. That was me, of course, on the
Gail.
scene.
Yeah,
Gail looking all
Gail.
beautiful and everything, and me just got that smile on. But anyway, and of course, our president. And so I want to know
Commander-in-Chief.
what you think of the comedian. I know Obama. He turned it out with his laughs and his, presentation.
Who was the comedian?
Yeah, Larry Wilmore.
Larry
Oh.
Wilmore. Yeah. So I just want to get your opinion on his last word. Did you hear it? I just want to make sure.
No, I didn't
Look,
catch
hold
that.
up now. I'm not going to repeat what
But
he
I know
said.
Obama's
I just
strategic.
want to know if anybody heard it because I know I heard it. So
No, I didn't hear it, so
I
you
would just
got-
want to know. Did you hear it?
I know
What'd he
the
say?
word
Oh,
was.
come on now. Look,
What'd he say? I
when
missed
this-
it. What'd he
I know
say?
everybody doesn't
Let's
want
just
to
say
watch.
Richard Pryor's familiar with the word.
Yeah.
Very
Richard
familiar.
Pryor repeats it,
Okay.
okay? And Doug Crocker, there he goes. And so I caught him coming out the White House dinner, and I had some words from him, but everybody just kind of came around and asked him 100 questions, so I didn't really reach out to him. But I definitely wanted to know what you thought. And what did you think of Obama dropping that? He had the mic and he said out. What
I
did he
think
say?
that was genius.
Wasn't
Yes.
that awesome?
That was
Yeah,
very good,
yeah. He
get
said,
out.
What was his
Yeah.
word when he dropped it? He said what? Did you hear it? I'm out. And
Wow.
he drops the mic. How cool is that?
Obama
Obama out.
out.
There you go. He said Obama is out. And you know what I'm saying? Hey.
Throwing his
He
swag.
is doing his thing.
I
And
can't
you
comment.
know
I haven't
what?
seen it yet, so I want to see
Well, you
what's
need to
happening.
go and what did you think
I
about
thought
that?
that was apropos. Given what
Look at that. There he goes. Love him. Michelle looking beautiful. Go ahead.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
given what he's been the opposition.
Absolutely.
Before they had anything to even oppose, he's had a hard way to go.
Wow.
He did.
And I think that's his
look
way
at
of
how
saying,
beautiful.
despite everything that you placed in front of me, I still prevailed in a lot
Beautiful.
of what I was trying to do. I don't think he accomplished everything he wanted to do, obviously.
Right, and we understand why.
But,
Exactly.
But I think that was his way of saying, in spite of, I still did.
Right.
Wow.
He did, yeah. And the thing is, too, his the way he did he was being a comedian last night. Put it like that, right?
Comedians
And
can get away with things that the average person can't get away with.
It was so classy. I mean, for real. You hear him making jokes, but I think seriously, deep down, he has that side of him.
He was comfortable.
There's a lot of truth in
He
comedy.
was very comfortable.
There's a lot of truth in comedy.
Very comfortable last night.
The best comedy is rooted in truth.
It's in truth. Storytellers and truth.
Very relatable.
Dealt with comedians all my life.
The funny thing is, because I didn't get a ticket, I wasn't inside. I was in my car trying to rush over to
You
get
was
to
on the
end,
scene,
right?
girl.
I was on the scene in the end, right? So when I was in the car and I was listening to the speech, the comedian, and I was like, I mean, I wouldn't want to be, I know he's good and everything, but I wouldn't have not wanted to be Obama sitting there and the comedian talking about me like that. I'm just keeping it real, right? I think it should have been a little bit more positive, but I know that's their job to actually, come off like that. But a lot of stuff he said I didn't like. I mean, and I just felt that they should have just critiqued his speech.
No,
they
but
should have
keep
read
but
it.
keep
I don't
it
know.
but,
He's
but
a
keep in mind
comedian,
Obama
right?
knows everything. They don't allow anything to touch that
You think they
platform
let
that's
him
there.
say all those words?
Everything script. They don't allow
Wow.
anything to come in there.
Right.
Yeah.
But
without them
sometimes,
and,
sometimes being real,
Right.
that will get attention.
Yeah,
People have to
if
start thinking. Sometimes we may not like what it is,
Right.
but it can help people think
Right.
They had
and
me
change the
thinking.
way they
Obama's
look at
strategic. He's one of the
things.
best.
Then that will make
Well,
a difference.
It's just indicative of what Obama represents to me
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
really
It's not a
to
game.
others, African Americans he should represent. Just him breathing and putting himself in that foray.
Right.
You have to be willing to embrace and be real at all times.
Absolutely.
He's able to engage. I think that's what's probably gotten him his opposition, because if you look at them, everything is so calculated and articulated and
Absolutely.
it's measured to the point that they're not even thinking anymore.
That's correct.
So do we want folks in office that are leading, quote unquote, the free world who aren't even able to have their own free thoughts
Right.
and really lead? I just think he just embraces everything about engagement. Just like, I mean,
Gotta get
nothing was
people
worse
thinking.
when the situation he had where he had to speak on race as he's running for president.
Isn't that crazy, right?
But at
Oh
the same
my
time, when
God.
people are like, no, don't do it. He was like, no,
He's gonna have
I mean,
to.
I have to.
he
I have to
wants
embrace
If you
it.
don't do it now, then
Right.
what?
I mean,
Right,
yeah. And I mean,
yeah.
he's making America embrace who we are, what we're becoming, how we're
And that's his
evolving.
thing, change.
Yeah.
That's
It's all
change,
Change
yeah.
is constant, and
Change.
there's still more change to come.
Right.
You know.
Okay, so did you want to say something? Okay, so I just wanted to move it right along. So I don't know if we can show this, but it was the Kennedy King's Awards Gala, and that was on the 28th of April. And I mean, the University District of Columbia, oh my God, it was held at the Student Center. And everybody that was political was in the house. And I mean, in the house. Anita Bonds, everybody, I mean,
On the scene.
they were on the scenes. The house was so packed, and guess what? I was one of the main photographers. I was like, where's the photographers? Like, literally, like I was invited like 5 minutes before the hour. And
You
I
on
was
the scene,
tired.
baby. That's why
And I said,
you
know
on the
what?
scene,
And
Patricia.
because I put the water bottles
You
right
stay
next to
on the
Mary
scene. They
Barrow's
gotta
water
catch up with
bottles
you.
next to her name. I had to put it because she's so healthy, right?
Right.
That's our mayor. But anyway, oh, look at Leah. She
Leah
was on
is
the
in the
scene
house. That's my
too.
buddy there.
Look at
She is-
that.
Oh, that's my daughter Leah.
That
She's
is
right
my
over
buddy.
there. She doesn't like to come on the scene and sit,
Oh,
but
we
it's
got
so
a smile
good.
out of Leah.
She said she was gonna sing. I hope we get her to sing today. But anyway,
would
I
be
will
lovely.
try for lucky. But anyway, so what I want to say is congratulations to having that 28th Kennedy's King Awards Gala, because it was really, really nice. And I mean, I can't even tell you who was there. You can see the pictures. I mean, pretty much, get with me. I'll have it posted on social media so you can see everybody. But I mean, there was nobody that I couldn't see that wasn't in the house that needed to be represented. And everybody received an award, and they did a fabulous job, and the food was good. Everything was good. And I was there on the scene. So
DC's
that's all I
mayor.
could say. And just showing you a little clips of what it was about, and everybody from the District of Columbia.
They was on the
getting an
scene?
award. They were on the scene.
They were on the scene.
Yeah, and so we wanted to just give a shout out to that as well. So moving right along, I see we have Dr. DK in the house. We'll get with you soon, Dr. DK. Welcome. Okay, so let's see. I mean, there's so much stuff I can't even tell you. But anyway, let's just move it right along. You're good for time?
I am.
Okay, so I was at Shantae Moore's with Tristina Gray, WHUR representing in the house.
I saw that.
I
saw
was
that.
out there.
Y'all were live.
That was live. Oh,
Y'all were
my
live.
God.
I saw that.
So I was out there in Blues. What is it called?
Blues Alley.
Not Blues
No,
Alley.
no.
But
The
that's
supper
the
club.
Blues,
But that's
the
a supper club. Yes.
And look at Shantae Moore. She is absolutely
Gorgeous.
stunning. And look
Gorgeous.
at Christina. She
I had
looks
to call you about
absolutely
that. I saw
beautiful.
that. Yeah, I said,
So
hey.
I was on the scene doing my
She
thing
turned it
behind
out.
the scenes, and I mean, she had this brother. I mean, give you the the video of that because we'd be here all day. But it's on Facebook, and she serenaded this brother, put him up on the stage, and I mean she sang to him, and she was just all over him. I kid you not, and I'm telling you right now, I don't even know how he went to go back in the seat and sit with this woman because he's on the fire now for real. I tried to catch him.
He's on the couch.
I tried to catch him.
He's on the couch this week.
He is not in the room.
It's part of entertaining.
That was I tell you.
Well.
She turned it out. That's all I'm gonna say. I tried to get his number, give him my number so he can get the video. But I'm gonna tell you what.
That's just what he needed to give his number
That
to a
was
second
awesome.
woman, right?
Oh, yeah, right. Well, everybody knows me, of course. I'm not trying to talk to I'm on the scene, right? I could do all kinds of stuff on the scene, right?
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna go moving right along. We're gonna try one more. We're gonna talk about the one that's Prince.
Right.
Prince Christina did it again from WHUR. She was in the house. They had a tribute out there in a restaurant called Sorbet. Is that right? Let me get it straight, right? Is Sorbet, is that right? SOBE. I mean, that was the first, a restaurant and lounge, and it was awesome. And they did a tribute, and we rocked the house. We literally turned it out. I mean, everybody just had a wonderful time. We were dancing, having fun, eating, and the food there is, fabulous.
Sorbet. What's the style of food?
Well, I mean, like I said, I didn't get to eat. That's late at night. I don't eat that food at that hour of the night. I was so busy. I was there because I wanted to represent, of course, and I wanted to give a shout out to Prince again, of course. Condolences to the family. However, I did see some plantains, and I love my plantains, and they look really good. And I want to say, can I take some to go?
Like we Caribbean. We Caribbean. That's the Caribbean.
That's the Caribbean, right?
That's it. I love. So I'm Haitian, so that's it.
That's a food.
You got to have the press.
Spent some time in
Plantain.
Puerto Rico. So
In Puerto Rico, hey, I'm from Belize, Central America, and she's
You got to have the
where?
plantains.
I'm from Thailand. I just came back from St. Martin and they know how to cook
We got
Keo
some
style
pictures.
food.
Yes, they do.
Amazing.
There's sweet plantain, there's the salted plantain.
Yes,
you know.
Okay, so I just want to give a little
Cuban
shout
brother
out
over there.
To,
All right.
Cuban friends,
That's why you're the warrior.
I'm homesick.
I know.
and
I was almost on a flight to Haiti yesterday.
Oh, righty. So why don't we do this? I don't know if we have a video, if
Homesick.
we can show a video. And we want to thank you guys so much.
We appreciate the time.
Thank you for being on the scene with us, man.
Wow. And keep up an amazing work that you're doing.
Well, like I said, we got another video coming in 2 weeks. So
All right.
maybe we
And
can
stay
come
on
back
the
and show
scene,
that.
man. Them youth need that. The STEM program.
Yes.
I appreciate y'all, man. That's
it's
working
just,
with youth. That's important.
We think so too.
Well,
That's
it
very
doesn't matter.
important.
We could show one. We could show the video of Chantay Moore if we can, with her singing, because she was just live up in the house, sounding all beautiful and everything. I don't know if you're able to show that, but it doesn't matter. Whatever you put in there.
Hi, this is Chantay Moore, and you are on the scene with Patricia McDougall. Check it out. Will I Marry Me?
Marry me.
Let's talk about that one.
Will I marry me? That's something to think about.
She wrote a book. As a matter of fact, I think I have the book here. I was so busy this morning. I told her I was going to bring it on set. She just signed it for me. Will I Marry Me? She actually put a book together. She's been married 3 times, and she talked about, she's not married now. She's looking for a man. I guess she said that. I didn't say that. Look, she said it on stage. Hello, fellas.
She in the market.
And I guess she proved it too.
Oh
I'm desperate.
my God! What? No, she don't look desperate for me, honey. That girl is
Hey,
fly.
but it's how you put it out there, though.
Absolutely
right.
beautiful and inside
But she still
and
ain't
out.
Yeah, but
You could be looking
Why you
for a
ain't-
man
You
on
can
there
be single and happy
Single?
and content
Hello?
with your life.
then why
Just
she
'cause
said
you're
she need a man
divorced?
then?
No, I'm
Listen,
just
you
saying,
didn't. You
I'm
weren't
just
there. You weren't
It's
there
just
to
a book, right?
exactly.
Came to her defense, right?
Yeah, listen. She's talking about being married.
And
This
you're
is
not being
this is what I
3
learned
times.
about life. Also, is that as long as you are content and happy with your life, whoever the man that come to your path and become another half of you will be completely content as well. I don't need a man to be in my life, but I wanted the man to be in my life because you cannot make me happy if I'm not happy with myself.
That's
so
true.
I think
That's
that was a
correct.
message he tried to say. Will you marry me? Would you marry yourself?
And that's exactly what she said. The book, Will
Correct.
You Marry Me, it's about she's marrying herself.
That's
because,
right.
You've been married 3 times, 4 times, whatever, I don't know. But anyway, she's been married 3 times. And I don't remember, she told me the person who she was married to last. But I don't want to say anything,
But sometimes it makes you think, she need to be married? Because
that's
sometimes
exactly
you're
what
too
she
selfish
got
to be
God,
married.
and that was it. And she
Would I marry me? That's a good
Yeah.
question to ask
But
yourself.
you
You
can't-
may not get married because you're too selfish.
You can't be happy with yourself unless you know yourself.
Self.
That's
Exactly.
correct. That's
And-
correct.
And a lot of people
So she
do not
asked
know
a
who
genuine
they are.
question,
And because
exactly.
it's something you learn over the course of a lifetime.
Yeah, when I marry me, who am I? Like,
This is
So
true.
who am I? So she was saying her point is she can be happy all by herself. She said she need a man, but she can
Obviously.
be happy all by
That is
herself.
correct.
But it's obvious. Like,
But listen, Roussan, I have to break the point that you say because as you realize, everybody have to go through different journey on their past to discover who they are.
absolutely.
Until you know who you truly are, you cannot make other people happy, nor yourself happy.
Because you got to love yourself first.
And I believe that she is quality and qualified and
Oh, we
bona
see
fide
that,
to be
but-
married, but it's her choice who she
Exactly.
choose to marry with.
Exactly.
And I love her message is that, will you marry
Isn't
me?
that awesome?
Yes,
Yeah. And
absolutely.
And when she was out there on the stage, I'm going to let you know right now, the girl turned the whole place out. That's all I'm going to say. Check out that video.
But when
I
she
can't
did, I
wait
wouldn't
to
marry
see
her.
that.
I wouldn't marry her.
That poor guy,
Lord.
I love
he
you,
is
Chantana. I
never,
would marry you, though.
ever going to be the same.
You never know.
All I'm going to say.
I would
never
marry-
know.
I
You
don't
never
only
know.
want her on me like
Sometimes-
that. I want my
sometimes
wife
people
only
step their
on me.
game up, you know.
Right.
He
Sometimes,
was trying to get her number. I'm sure
I,
while he was
I
on
only
the
want
stage,
my
talking
wife
about,
on
"Can
me
you
like
call
that.
me
You
later?"
can't be up on nobody else like
It's an
that.
opportunity. You have
Absolutely.
to.
Hey, question, will she marry you?
Well, she
you-
married-
How about that?
That's probably what he was thinking,
That's
right?
true.
But he was actually stuff. And everybody was in the house. I was behind the scene having fun. It was absolutely lots of fun. So I just want to give a shout out to them, to all the people that was
Fun
in the
is
house.
good.
With Shantae Moore celebrating and having a wonderful time on the scene.
Beautiful lady.
So do we have
she's
any
good
videos
people.
real
She's
quick
good
that we can
husbands.
show? I don't know. Do
She's
we
a
have any
beautiful
longer
person.
videos we can show?
3 husbands. I didn't
That
know.
we could
I only
bring
knew
on or
one.
some pictures we could
so
show.
he had three.
That's the only one.
Bring in
I
and
didn't know. Well, 2
introduce.
of them.
We have some other
Right.
guests
Yeah.
on
Two. I
the
didn't
show
know it was
today.
As a matter of fact.
Yeah. Oh, she has
That's the one
pictures
we know.
now. Now check
Oh,
out.
yeah.
It's very, very nice. Yeah. So I don't know if you can't show the video. Do you have a video of Shantae
Wow.
Yeah, she
singing?
beautiful.
Something going on there.
Yeah.
Something's happening.
Yeah.
Just saying. 3
You
times.
said you do not.
Sometimes 3 charm is a charm.
That's true.
No,
Well,
nobody can judge nobody, right?
No, you can't.
3 times.
Only
Yeah.
God knows.
Well, it's all about being with the right person for you.
That's
it.
At the end
correct.
of the day.
At the right time.
Yeah, at the right time.
Yeah.
You can meet your
That is true.
soulmate. If you're bankrupt, it becomes very difficult. If you're in the wrong place professionally, if you're in the wrong place emotionally, you can meet your soulmate and it won't matter.
This is true.
Okay, well, we're going to move right along because we have a lot to talk about, and I'm not sure if we can get that video on. It's in that second chip that I gave you, but in the meantime, can we play some photos or put the photos on for the retirement celebration that I did? I was everywhere, right? Like I said, right? And the retirement celebration was for the Reverend Kane Hope Felder. He's a doctor, and he's a professor at Howard University, and I was in the scene with him there. And we had a wonderful time. We were actually at... it was yesterday again, in Israel Baptist Church. Oh my goodness. And again, who wasn't in the room? And so if we can show some pictures and talk about that a little bit. In the meantime, yes, we're going to have you guys see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. And we're going to tell our guests that was here from 100 Black Men. Thank you very
for
much.
being on the scene with us,
for
fellas.
being on the scene. But if you can hang
All
around,
right.
we'd love to take some photos with you as
And
well.
we'd like to be on the scene with the next events you guys have. We'd like to be on the scene with you. All right.
And so I just sort of want to talk about a little bit about the retirement celebration for Reverend Kane. Well, Dr. Kane, right? You can tell her, I know Dr. DK's in the house, and he could tell us a little bit. And Chintana.
Welcome back, Dr. DK. So good to see you today.
Welcome on the scene.
Yes. And Chintana, we had a guest. Where is your guest? I mean, where is she? We're looking for her. She's in the house.
She's in the house, so we'll see.
And we'll find her in a minute, and we have a seat reserved for her. How about that?
Yeah, she's a fashion
So in the
designer.
meantime, we have Dr. DK in the house. Dr. DK, tell us, You missed that one. They called me at 5 minutes before the hour. It was
so
retirement
happy you were-
celebration.
I'm so
yes.
happy you were there because Dr. Kane Hope Felder is one of the renowned professors in Howard University School of Divinity. A matter of fact, there are many people who are of the view that if you went to Howard School of Divinity and you were not taught by Dr. Kane Hope Felder, then your degree was invalid.
They showed the love.
He has traveled all over
Mm-hmm.
Africa. He has done extensive work. He's one of the chief editor, or actually the person who put together the African American Bible. And he has lectured in religious language, major in Greek, New Testament. He taught me at Howard University. He teaches courses like Justice and Peace in the New Testament and numerous studies focusing on New Testament literature. Kane Hope Felder is also founder and leader of the Biblical Institute of Social Change, where he has convened numerous seminars with civic, social justice, faith-based leaders, talking about issues in the Bible and how that can impact change in the society. And he's well loved all across the world. He has taught thousands of Black American preachers and leaders. And so his retirement is going to be a grand loss to Howard School of Divinity. But I'm sure that he has inspired so many that will be walking in his footsteps. I was privileged personally, Patricia.
Oh.
He was one of the members on my dissertation committee. He, Dr. King, Dr. Courtwright Davis, and Dr. Trulier. And so, Kane
Can
Hope
we show
Felder-
them pictures again one more time, if you don't mind? Yes.
Kane Hope Felder put me to work.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll show the pictures maybe later. So in the meantime, go ahead. You can continue. We took a lot of pictures yesterday because I was on the scene. But we're just going to skip that for just 1 second, Dr. D, because we just want to introduce a special guest here.
Miss
Who just got on the scene with us.
International designer. Thank you for coming on today.
And her outfit looks fabulous.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. Naija in the house.
Welcome, welcome. Now you see me everywhere, girl.
Of course.
Yes.
She's on the scene,
I'm
isn't
sorry. We have some pictures. I don't know if he's able to show the ones of you. However, we do have some lovely photos. You know, I have lots of your photos too as well. But I'm sorry I didn't get to come to your events. Was it recently? Was it yesterday? Or I don't know. When was that event Chintana showed
She
you
actually have a
pictures?
new one coming up, so you make sure you mark on your calendar.
Oh,
You know, I always
okay.
have the fashion events and all of that.
Yes.
So we have one coming up May 28th. I will talk
Right.
a little bit more about it as we go.
Yeah, tell us a little more about you.
Tell
too.
us
We wanna
about
know
it.
more
You,
about
no,
you.
no,
She like I said, she's international designer and just came back from
I just came back from
Nigeria.
Nigeria. Of course, my name is Uche, Uche Ibezue, and I've been
Ibezue,
designing,
yes.
from Nigeria originally, and I've been designing from when I was a little girl. I got the craft from my mother, and of course from God, you know, who is the ultimate.
Absolutely. Give God the
There's some
glory.
And
There she
That's
is.
who she is.
oh Lord!
Gorgeous outfit.
We're from the same tribe, Uche.
Oh, where are you from?
Yes, I'm Chinagaromdike.
Oh my
So
God!
Uche is very common in my family. There are many family members.
I
of
can
mine who
imagine. Yes.
Wonderful.
That's very nice.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Oh, wow.
So tell us about the show you have up there, if you don't mind.
Which
A little
one?
bit. The one that was just up there.
Okay,
Did you
that
see
is
it?
actually
Yes.
a show that that is supposed to be it's a talk show, African talk show for one of the largest network in Europe, you know. So that was in London, and so they are looking for me to do an African fashion talk show on their network called Ben TV in London. So they're working on all of that, and then hopefully they get that up and running. So because we need we need a what is it called, a talk show, whatever it is, however it is, to communicate our craft to the people out there. They really need to understand the culture, the beautiful culture of Africa, not only Nigeria. Yes,
They love it. They love African fashion. in London.
absolutely.
I'd like for you to share with
they love it
the
in London.
audience the African fashion show that you have coming up next month.
Okay.
Yes. And what's the date of it as well?
It's May the 20th. So about
Okay.
3 years ago, as you know, Patricia, and
Yes, of
you know,
course.
I founded the African Arts and Fashion Week DC, became the first fashion week, African Fashion Week here in DC. And it is just, to kind of really support emerging designers, to bring the African markets, together, to kind of reach out to the target markets. So, and we've been doing that for 3 years now in collaboration with the Nigerian Embassy in DC. And that's been huge, huge, huge. We've had a lot of people come on board to support us, celebrities, a lot of people to come support that. And so we're very blessed by that. So we have the workshop this year. We have the workshop coming up May 20th. What we did for this year is we split this year, into, call it half. So we have the first part of it, May 20th. Okay. The workshop and evening of fashion. So we're bringing this amazing designer from Tanzania. Wow. She's already in town. She's and the good thing about this particular designer, I founded her 3 years ago.
Wow, awesome.
This is amazing. I know the story, but it's quite inspiring story.
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
awesome.
Yes. You want me to share a little bit of it?
Very, very briefly, because I want to make sure the show does not end without showing some pictures from the ambassador from Jamaica. Oh, and so can we just come back to you one second? Can you please show the pictures from the Jamaica? It says
and also
Jamaica
keep
on
in mind, we
there
want to
as
know
well. Not to
you
change
and your
course,
organization, what
right?
you're trying to accomplish.
Please, I want to talk about that.
You and your organization, we want to.
And while we wait for the pictures from Jamaica, you can continue.
Please,
Ambassador Thompson.
Okay, so where did I stop?
Your story.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
yes,
so
this
the May 20th workshop, fashion evening of workshop, we are featuring a designer from Tanzania. She's already in town, and 3 years ago I was flying in back from Europe, and she was coming in back from Tanzania. Right. So I saw her at the airport. She had this beautiful jacket. So I walked up to her and I said to her, "Your jacket is gorgeous. I love it." She said, "I made it myself." I said, "You made this yourself? Are you a designer?" She said, "I don't have what it takes to be a designer." I said, "What do you mean you don't have what it takes to be a designer?"
And you made that one?
Yes. And I said to her, "Listen, I don't want you to be a designer. I want you to go back, tweak this jacket." I gave her some ideas and I said, "Listen, go back and work on this jacket and I need you to launch your brand. Go ahead and do, and then down the road, long story short, she's not only launched her brand, she's been, to Hollywood. Right. She's done major things, since 3 years. So that's the whole idea.
That's the power of suggestion.
So are you familiar with Queen Adiva? She's also a fashion designer from Nigeria.
Where is she at? Where is she located?
He's been in the same room with her.
Yeah, but when we say Nigeria, it's kind of big. And what state?
I probably would have. Yeah.
She hosts
that'd be great.
She hosts a beautiful fashion show. I would say last year at the Nigerian Embassy.
She was on the scene with us for
and
just
I was
a
an
couple
honor
episodes,
to be one of her model feature on some of her designing.
Yes,
gorgeous.
she did. Thank you.
You also have a shop here in Maryland.
Yes, I have a showroom. God has been extremely faithful and coming into this scene and accomplishing what I want to do in fashion. It's like my pastor would say, it's always a journey. But I tell people, kind of really, it's a step by step thing. And I'm one of the people who's been very blessed, to really walk in my purpose, because it's all about purpose. It's all about passion. It's all about vision. It's all about that. So,
that's correct.
And so yes, I have a showroom in here in Maryland, a fashion showroom, and it's been ongoing for about 5 years now, and very.
Can you tell the audience where they are so they can come
visit you? Is it invitation only? Is it?
No, it's not an invitation. It's an open showroom. It's an open boutique.
So tell us where it is.
It's in Savage, Maryland.
Beautiful venue.
Yes, Savage Mall. I don't know if you know. It's by Columbia.
I know Columbia.
Yes.
Okay, we know about that.
Yes. Can you tell us?
Being a person of African heritage, one of the things I realize a lot of people lack is the meaning of certain colors, certain apparel. Some of them symbolizes particular status and so forth. So people just go and buy any kind of African outfit and wear, but within the culture of Nigeria and so forth, it does not reflect sometimes good depending on what they wear. So do you intend to educate people on the meaning and why they should wear this color or this type of cloth and what does it symbolize in the culture?
Very, 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 very powerful, important question. And what he just, one of the things we do for the African Fashion Week, DC, is that we educate, we let people know, because like you said, the fabrics are very symbolic to our culture, and so many powerful things that has to do with the African culture. But unfortunately, a lot of people look at it as, it's just a beautiful fabric. Let me go buy it and wear. And then you wear it and they don't get it. So one of the things we do, especially during the workshop, is to educate the audience, to educate the people what's the fabrics all, the fabric. So it's not just the design, it's not just the piece, but it's also letting them understand a little bit more
about your culture.
About the culture.
That's
so because in Africa, let me tell you what, in Africa, very quickly, a piece of fabric can actually pass on a message.
Wow. That's right. I truly believe that. Absolutely. So where can they find you? Because I need to have Dr. DK say a few words because we're almost closing out. So tell us.
You can find me on, starting with the website, www.omakdesigns.com. We're on Instagram, omak_designs. We're on Facebook, Omak Designs by Uche. Twitter, Omak Designs.
And your next event is the date again?
It's May the 20th.
Wonderful. Where's that going to be? Thank you so much.
It's going to be at the place is called The Loft. It's here in DC. And we would make sure to pass on the address to you.
Please do.
And we'd love to be on the scene with you.
We'd love to invite some of our audience to come out.
Thank you. Well, let's talk about, not to change the subject, we only have a few more minutes, and I'd like Dr. DK to talk about his conference coming up. So can you talk about your conference, Dr. DK? We're having problems, he's having problems showing the pictures of Jamaica, but can you just say who was in the house for that one?
Okay,
let's talk about Jamaica, the ambassador leaving.
Okay, our ambassador, we just had a celebration ceremony for him. He's leaving to return to Jamaica. In Jamaica, whenever we have a change of government, it is a protocol to have the ambassador resign and a new ambassador come forward. But the Jamaica community here in the U.S. believe he was one of the greatest Ambassador Thomas. Very engaging, and we heard a beautiful story at his retirement. His daughter who went and served in China and is raising funds to help a village in China right now, and is seeking the support of so many others there. But great experience with him, and he's going home.
Can you talk about briefly, and I'll show that video, check it out on Facebook, also the pictures, because we have problems with the photos right now. Can you just tell us about your conference in a nutshell, because we're going to be like,
June, every year, June is Caribbean American Heritage Month for the whole month.
And tell us who's the guest.
Third week of June is the legislative week. And that week we normally host what you call the Caribbean and African Faith-Based Leadership Conference. And so this is running from June 22nd to 24th. This year we are going to be very blessed to have very great guests coming in from Africa.
But can you tell them very briefly, because we only have 1 second, really, literally, so can you tell us where we can find you?
We have Prophet TB Joshua coming out of Lagos, Nigeria, the Oni of Olife, which is a king from Nigeria, and we also have His Imperial Majesty Kingly Fletcher Adamte from Ghana, ruling the Southern Kingdom of Ghana, and also a pastor here in the U.S. And these are some of the special guests that we're looking forward to at this year's conference.
Fabulous. So one more second, just tell me the dates. We have 1 second, literally.
And so the award ceremony is on June 24th at Howard University. We'll also be having a White House briefing with the State Department Office on Religious Global Affairs, including an event at the U.S. Congress. It's going to be a great celebratory event, so we look forward to see you come
thank you. So I just want to say right now, thank you, Dr. DK. And the website, very fast.
Further information can be found at cafblc.org. That's Caribbean African Faith-Based Leadership Conference at cafblc.org.
Well, thank you so much for everybody for coming on the show, the 100 Black Men, also Chintana, my co-host, and Dr. Rue, and my beautiful sister over here in the house.
Thank you.
Representing Dr. DK. Thank you so much for coming on and singing too. So we'll chime in every Sunday at 2 o'clock, and make sure you listen. We have so many special announcements to make, and also so much going on. But anyway, check us out on Facebook and make sure that you see all the pictures.
Once again, we thank everybody for being on the scene.
Thank you so
so
having
much,
us.
and
That's
stay
right.
amazing you out there.
That's right.
Thank you.